Brent Coleman had one of his best games in a United jersey last week in Indy. The 6'2" Minnesota native received Team of the Week honors for the first time in his professional career. Dylan Mears is one of 8 players to remain with Indy from the 2015 roster. The second-year player's first goal of the year was an upper 90 game winner last weekend over Minnesota. Minnesota found out why Indy are the spring champs. After scoring a season-high 5 goals in the spring opener, United was shut out in the first of back-to-back matches with Indy 11. Looking to reignite their offensive attack, United returns home where they have scored 16 of their 21 goals this season. Indy remains unbeaten, but they have yet to battle at Minnesota, where visitors rarely take points home. It's Indy 11 and Minnesota United. Next. Brent Coleman shut him down.
Yeah, Coleman's had a great start to the season, securing a starting spot in the lineup here. But when we talk about Coleman, it's always about his speed, and we'll see in this clip coming up here exactly what we're talking about. The ball's played over the top. As it gets played over, you see Zayed getting the step on Brent Coleman here. But by the time the ball gets under control, Coleman's speed has got him back into position again. And he doesn't want to allow Zayed to turn inside the box here, because that's where all the danger is. He has 3 players waiting for this ball. But Coleman also has quick feet here. You see, he can get close enough, and by having quick feet, he can get close to him, almost get a hand on the back here. He doesn't allow Zayed to turn right or left. Zayed wants to play this ball back, but there's nobody there but a Minnesota player. So what Coleman does, he makes him turn inside the shortest part of the field here, and he tries to cross the ball. He gets an extra kick here and wins a goal kick out of it. Great play.
Turnovers in your defensive third can be costly. Dylan Mears made Minnesota pay for their mistake.
Yeah, he's an excellent player in midfield for Indy. He looks to get forward here. You can see him chasing forward here. Minnesota does win the ball back again. Coleman on the end of the box here. But as Minnesota turns upfield, you see Lance Lang here. You got Justin Davis on the left-hand side here just to play the ball outside. But you see Mears sees the danger, so he starts to work back hard into midfield here. And he gets in a great position here. It's a simple ball out from Lance Lang to Justin Davis, but Mears reads it here, and he'll step in front of him and pick this ball off. And when he does, he has a couple of touches, plays it forward, and from fully 25 yards out, just hits a blistering shot over the top of Samuel Jacques for the game winner last week.
After a week in which Minnesota United failed to score or create any significant scoring chances, will Carl Craig start the same 11, giving them an opportunity for redemption? We'll show you Minnesota and Indy's starting lineups next on My 29. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the 2016 season presenting sponsor, Allina Health, and by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of Minnesota United. Welcome back to the National Sports Center. This is the 9th meeting of Minnesota and Indy since the start of 2014. The all-time series is currently tied at 4 wins each. Indy has won the last 3 meetings, but all of them were in Indianapolis. We're moments from kickoff, so here are the Summit Brewing Company starting lineups. Greg Janicki was a solid presence for Indy last week. He didn't give Christian Ramirez or J.C. Banks any room to work.
Yeah, he's just one of the shutdown defenders that Indy 11 have. They've only given up 9 goals in 13 games, and he's a big part of why they've done this. Like I said, he didn't give any of the Minnesota forwards any chance last week. He just does the job simply, wins the ball, and when he gets forward, he gets a couple of goals as a bonus.
Jeff Bobrovsky missed last week due to a red card. Minnesota missed Jeff Bobrovsky.
Yeah, he's a big miss in that lineup. He plays well. He protects the back four. And when he gets that ball from the back four, he likes to get the ball started forward. And Minnesota needs somebody last week to win that ball in midfield and keep possession. He's going to be key tonight if Minnesota's going to win this game. Jeff Bobrovsky's going to have a great game tonight.
Here now are the NASL fall standings. Minnesota were just 2 games in, but they are 3 points behind the New York Cosmos, who sit atop the fall table.
Yeah, you don't want to fall any more points behind the Cosmos at this point, as Minnesota would look to the fall season to try and win it. They've got to keep pace with the Cosmos, so it's a must-win game for Minnesota tonight, I think.
Here are the combined standings. See, New York kind of pulling away with 27 points, but sitting right behind them. Indy at 25 points. Minnesota not out of it at all with 19.
No, they're not out of it, but they need this game with 8 points behind right now. You don't want to lose this game and be 8 points behind the Cosmos, because you're going to have to expect the Cosmos to win 2 or 3 games coming down the stretch here late this season, and that's not going to happen with the New York Cosmos.
Christian Ramirez, J.C. Banks, who have been a pretty good tandem in these last few games when they've been playing, side by side.
Yeah, they've done really well as of late. Just last week's game, it wasn't the greatest game. It was a battle in midfield, which nobody seemed to want. But, the turf was a big key factor last week. Minnesota here back on the grass, which is where they play their best soccer, and we're looking for a great game tonight from Minnesota.
The final regular season meeting between Minnesota and Indy are underway. Indy right away on the attack. Going forward, looking for Braun. Justin Davis making his 150th appearance for Minnesota this evening, wearing the captain's armband as well. Cruz called for the foul.
They go back to Danny Cruz, just a step too late there, tries to step inside, takes him out. Good call by the referee.
Jallow, the center referee this evening. Justin Mack, Becky Pagan, his assistant referees. Matt Printup, the 4th official. Little flick there by Braun. Injok makes his first save of the night.
Yeah, good knockdown by Braun there inside. Just a little late there coming in.
2 trips to Indy so far this year, 0 points for United. United have done a great job this year possessing, keeping the pace of the game rolling as we see here.
Danny Cruz going in. Cruz, he goes down. Whistle from the referee, and he points to the spot. And an early penalty kick now for Minnesota.
Yeah, this is the start Minnesota will want. Get onto it. Where last week the ball bounces away from and goes out of play here. You see him turning the defender here, comes across, steps in front of him, which is a great move by Danny Cruz, because it has to make contact there. And as he comes across, he makes contact. He might have caught the defender coming in late here. Might have caught his head off his knees. He come through. He goes down, or he catches him on the top of the shoulder with the side of his head there.
For Christian Ramirez.
Ramirez from the spot. He blasts it home this time and gives Minnesota an early lead.
When you miss a penalty kick against a goalkeeper in quick succession here, Ramirez steps up and just blasts that ball down the middle. The goalkeeper's going to guess either one way or the other. He went the same way as last week, but Ramirez just powers that ball right down the middle, right where the goal.
So scoring for Minnesota United in the 3rd minute, his 9th goal of the year, Christian Ramirez. Ramirez from the penalty spot in the 3rd minute makes it 1-0 for Minnesota.
And as the ball comes in, good control. He does this very well. Plays inside. He gets hit late from Palmer coming in with the knee under the thigh. Never feels good, but this is niggly kicking going on. Both teams are getting frustrated. Starting early tonight.
They have to restart kick, so that's why Cruz has to go back off. Now he is back into play by the referee. Palmer puts his head on it. Banks, a little touch out to Pino. Palmer defending. Stefano Pino. Left-footed cross in. Flicks through. And there is number 2.
Brilliant play here against by Pino here. Waiting. Plays a great ball in the near post. Doesn't get touched. He gets missed. think it was by Danny Cruz there, but you see Ramirez the last week's performance.
Just 3 minutes after his first goal of the night, Christian Ramirez puts it in the back of the net for his second of the night off an assist from number 11, Stefano Pino. Ramirez from Pino in the 6th minute makes it a 2-0 score in favor of Minnesota.
And just before that goal went in, Chris, I was just going to say Minnesota can't just sit back and try and protect this 1-0 lead. They still need to attack, and sure enough, Pino gets the ball. You see Pino working his way down the left-hand side here. Sizing his man up here. We saw last week the moves he made. That's a great ball in, great run by Danny Cruz that makes that goal right there, because even though he didn't touch that, he took a player with him. He has to freeze the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper stands still as Ramirez.
Last year he did 20 goals. Last year was 12 goals. Now he has reached 10.
Yeah, he's turning into a decent player, don't you think?
I think so.
No, he's just a natural goal scorer, and those kind of things, they just get there and the ball comes to you when you're having such a great period like he's having right now.
Indy has had their success at Carroll Stadium. On the road, not so much. Only one road win this year.
You see that 4 draws, which is key, and that's one of the reasons why they're up there near the top and they're able to get back into games. So it's imperative that Minnesota work even harder right now to try and get that 3rd goal, because it's going to be tough to come back from 3 goals. We know Indy are a good team, but I don't think they can come back from 3 goals if Minnesota can get that goal to put them up 3-0.
Indy is undefeated in 13 straight games, tied the NASL record along with Carolina in 2011 and the New York in the 2013-2014 season. So a win or a draw here tonight for Indy would give them the record, the NASL record in undefeated streak. Good ball from Davis, just a bit too far for Ramirez.
People over with him. He gets control of that ball. The middle's wide open for J.C. Banks to make a run if Pino gets the ball back from him. You can see the move. They've had more chances in the first 10 minutes than they did in the whole game last week.
The training staff for Indy signaling to head coach Tim Hankinson that Duke Lacroix needs a substitution, so his night is done. For the time being, Indy playing with 10 men. Too far from Mares, and a goal kick upcoming for Minnesota. Beautiful 78 degrees here at the National Sports Center. It's been beautiful all day. And it's cooling down as we go throughout the night, so that's in favor of the players.
Yeah, it's a nice little breeze right now, but the best thing for Minnesota is the scoreboard. It's 2-0. Just a great night for soccer. It could even get better if they continue to play the way they're playing right now.
Indy did play a midweek game at home against Fort Lauderdale. In for Ramirez, controlling, lays it back for Banks. Denied by Janicki. Stolen by Venegas, quickly forward for Cruz. Danny Cruz plays it across, saved by Bush. Rebound, top of the 18. Poked away by Patterson.
All this play is coming from the great midfield play that Minnesota's doing right now. They're having so much time and space in midfield to be able to play the balls over the top. That one was to Ramirez, who had a great move. J.C. Banks just a little late getting in there. Otherwise, he had to tap in also, Chris. Looks like Vincent Cini might have a trouble with his right knee here. He's looking over to the sidelines. Christian gets a little touch on, a little extra touchy, but just great to pull this back from the goalkeeper here. Just J.C. Banks just a second too late coming in. Maybe one more step and he got that little tap in. A great move by Minnesota. Ball.
Omar Gordon has entered the game for Indy, replacing Duke Lacroix.
Looks like the signal it could be Vincent Cini's hamstring that he's having a problem with right now. And you don't want to mess with those things right now, Chris.
What I'm getting here from the sideline, Jack Blake, we haven't seen him in a few weeks. Slight problem with his hip. He's warming up right now. If there is a substitution, it appears
Blake will come in and do the same job too. Play by Indy there. Just Damien Lowe steps in front of him not to receive a yellow card. It's a good play by Damien Lowe there, even though he did give up a foul.
Patterson on the free kick for Indy. They're down by 2. Gordon hustling over to collect it. Down by Low. Patterson mishit. That'll skip out of play.
That was smart play by Minnesota. They had players over there closing it down, not allowing that ball to be crossed over very easily. In the end, they made a poor play out of play for a goal kick.
An early substitution now for Minnesota United. Jack Blake will be entering. He'll be replacing Giuliano Vicencini.
It's too bad. Vicencini's been playing well for Minnesota lately. He's done a great job in midfield here the last 4 or 5 games when he's come into the lineup. But, you know, if it is his hamstring, you can't take any chances with that. You know, better get him off now and get some treatment. Got some home games coming up here. Might miss the midweek game, but if you can get him back for next week, that'll be even better.
It's Jack Blake's first appearance of the fall for Minnesota. Played in and started 2 games in the spring. Blake in his first year with Minnesota United, previously playing with Nottingham Forest. Janicki puts his head on it. First touch for Blake. Gordon. Here's Ring. Brad Ring. In his 3rd year in Indy. Played at Indiana University. Went into the NCAA tournament all 4 years of his college career. Palmer along the right side. Low with the clearance. Bounce all the way back to Bush.
It's just little things that make the game much simpler for Minnesota. And just the last minute or so, when the ball was played out to danger, the ball was going to play down the middle or down the right-hand side here. Then he moved to the left-hand side. But you saw Ramirez on one side, Banks on the other side. Cruz also closing down, not allowing that ball over the top, because they were making runs to behind the Minnesota defense, and the ball wasn't going to be allowed over the top.
For Indy. Want to remind you, this Wednesday, AFC Bournemouth of the English Premier League come to town. Come to play Minnesota United here at the National Sports Center. Tickets are still available. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock this Wednesday. Minnesota United in an international friendly with AFC Bournemouth. Nifty work by Cruz and Venegas. Ramirez turning. Cruz, fans on it.
Ramirez was unlucky there as he turned. He wanted to play that square for J.C. Banks, but he just got caught under his feet. And, you know, when your player's hot and scoring goals, you know, Cruz made an effort to try and get the ball to him, miskicked it, but it almost still went to Ramirez. He still almost had a chance out of it.
What we're seeing there too, Alan, is so far offensive opportunities coming in droves. Minnesota United utilizing those open channels and putting pressure on the central defenders for Indy. It's having a very successful so far for the home team.
Yeah, and I think it's all stemming from the midfield. They're winning the battle of the midfield. Last week, no one really wanted that. Minnesota's in control of this right now, and when you get control of the midfield, they have time and space, and they're able to play that ball over the top or down the side. I saw Cruz make a little nifty backheel pass there to Venegas that started that sequence, but everything Minnesota's doing right now, they're doing it really well.
Brovsky called for the foul. Mares from distance. Saw it last week. This time he puts it up and over.
Yeah, he needs to be 5 or 6 yards closer to try and have a go there. But, you know, if you scored that goal last week, why not have another goal tonight?
th minute at the National Sports Center. Minnesota United leading 2-0. 2 goals from Christian Ramirez, the first and third minute. The second one coming just 3 minutes later. Up goes Brovsky. Banks. Ball gets away from Pino.
We've seen already tonight Brovsky win more balls tonight than the whole Minnesota team did, or Indy team did last week in midfield. He's winning a lot of the knockdowns. And
Zayed fouled from behind by. Has there been a significant difference that you've noticed between last week and this week?
yeah, just what we talked about with Eric. Minnesota has to win the midfield battle tonight, and that was a key. And we talked about it last week. Nobody really had a strong game in midfield from either side. The ball bouncing all over the place. The ball wasn't being played through, but you can see so far tonight in the first 18-19 minutes how many times the ball is being played through and over the top, and Minnesota had success so far in the first 18-19 minutes.
Sort of working it around. Lowe will knock it away. Janicki with the step. Zayed controlling. Lays it off to Vukovic. Al Palmer on the right side. Up the line looking for Gordon. Davis gets there first. Pino. Knock it off of Palmer. Talked about Stefano Pino. He got a lot of attention when he came to Minnesota. How about the gentleman on the other side of the field from Pino, Danny Cruz? He has been phenomenal.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's a great asset for Minnesota. And it all starts with his work rate. I mean, what he brings to this team is hustle. And the rest of the team feeds off him. And they've done so far this season with him. Tonight, he's been involved in a couple of chances. He drew the penalty kick because of his run behind the defense. He had a great touch there to Venegas. That's almost had Minnesota another chance. But what he does, the way he goes, Minnesota goes. And so far tonight, he's doing really well.
Throw in from Zayed, lays it off from Mares. Blake, able to touch it away. Venegas pressured, able to find Ramirez. Lays it off for Cruz. Good hustle back by Ring to intercept that ball. Vukovic, first time forward. Braun on the end of it, working against Lowe. Back to Mares. He picks his head up. He drives it in, headed out by Coleman. Brent Coleman receiving Team of the Week honors this past week. Palmer, he'll play it in now. Justin Davis quickly going forward, taking advantage of the space given to him. Now in midfield, plays it to his right to Cruz. Gets the return pass. Justin Davis from left back to right corner.
Once again, Danny Cruz is working down that side just before the play. The ball was played out wide, and he threw his body in front just to keep possession of that ball. That's what Danny Cruz does. He'll do everything he can to get himself in front to make sure that Minnesota keeps possession of the ball there, and he did exactly that.
That's going to be one of the keys for Minnesota tonight as well. There will be instances, as we've seen over the last couple of minutes, where Indy is pushing up, they're providing some pressure, but then that counterattack. For a team that doesn't offer up a lot of offensive opportunities for their opponents, one way to get it Indy on the counter, give them that space, and Justin Davis will take it.
Yeah, more so now with
Cruz with the cross. Behind Pino. He's called for the foul.
And getting back to Eric's point, Chris, it's going to happen more. It's a shock to their system right now that they've given away 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. As you see Pino here, just pulling back Palmer here as he tries to win that ball. With Justin Davis on the other side to get behind and win the game for Minnesota. And they did a great job doing that.
Davis wins a 50-50 challenge. Blake, Pino.
Minnesota's just a different team when they're on the natural grass here, Chris. The ball just played crisply, they control it quickly, keep possession, play it around. This is perfect because they have to make Indy forwards run around and waste energy to try and get the ball back.
Given away. Minnesota gets it right back though. Good first touch by Venegas. Venegas through for Cruz. Onside. Cruz cuts it to his left. Cruz Support. Blake, first time! Pushed aside by Bush. Minnesota offside.
Another play by Danny Cruz getting behind the defense. There's a little beautiful cutback move that does wrong foot the fullback here. He gets behind him. You see this little cutback behind his right foot here. Looks, you'd like to see him cross that ball, but he sees Blake coming in like and from 25 yards out almost with the side foot. He gets a lot of power on that. Brings a good save out of Bush right there.
And in watching the replay here on the large screen at NSC Stadium from the field side, you can watch as Christian Ramirez, they have so much respect for number 21. The central defenders are pushing back so far, giving guys like Jack Blake a ton of space to line one up like he just did.
Yeah, when you see Ramirez make those runs, Eric, sometimes it's 2, even 3 plays will follow him into those spaces. And it leaves Minnesota with 2 or 3 empty spaces to come in late.
Players stumbling all over. Venegas going at full pace around Vukovic. Venegas! And a save by Bush.
Makes the best of it. Just a wonderful attacking fullback, Kevin Venegas is. Great shot. Good save by Bush. Turned away for a corner.
This United corner kick is brought to you by Which Superior Sandwiches 12. Corner for Minnesota. They lead by 2. Headed out by Palmer. Right to Cruz.
Getting up with his chest here, just didn't quite get it in front of him. It was almost on the side there, which allowed him to lean back and get that ball over the crossbar with speed. His step overs, and he just leaves people standing there. He's so good at it.
Good turf doesn't just happen. Optimum field maintenance requires the right equipment to get a clean cut at the right height. Minnesota United FC is proud to partner with Minnesota Equipment to help us maintain the perfect pitch. Visit mnequipment.com for your equipment needs.
Crisp passing by Minnesota, 1 touch. Venegas into Brovsky, into Blake. Out to Cruz, and they have to foul him. Just
27th minute of play. Minnesota holding a 2-goal lead. Scooped up by Bush. John Bush in his first year with Indy has allowed just 9 goals while posting 5 clean sheets. Good touch by Davis. Blake will swing it out right to Venegas. Venegas will come back across looking for Banks. Banks was offside on the ball.
He's in so far this season. You see Venegas trying to pick him out there. Yeah, he's onside right there. The linesman got it wrong again because he's onside by a couple yards right there. But a great ball by Venegas. But going back to Bush there, he's probably had more work in the first 27, 28 minutes than he's had all season with this Minnesota team tonight.
Here's Mayers, Dylan Mayers. Ring. Again denied by Venegas. Ring gets it back. Mayers. Zayed turning. He's going to lay it off for Braun, but he would have been offside.
Yeah, good defensive play by me.
Palmer. Alpino for Minnesota. Into Blake. Ball skips away from him. Braun trying to turn on Brovsky. Brovsky pokes it away, gives up the throw in.
Yeah, great play by Brovsky there, seeing the danger, closing down Braun, and allow him to turn there, winning the ball back. You can see what kind of difference Brovsky's made in midfield tonight. He's winning a lot of balls in there. And that's what Minnesota were lacking last week on the road in Indy.
Turned over in the middle third. Patterson. Braun. Too far for Justin Braun. End result will be a goal kick for United.
Yeah, it was a difficult. Just slow it down just a little bit here, but a good ball in here. Braun, much of he's trying to flick that on or turn it onto the goal. Came off low and back off Braun.
UnitedFC.com to learn more about our premium seating options. Good step by Lowe, and then he goes down hard after being undercut by Zayed.
Just nudge him just a little bit, and that's all it took here. Justin Davis goes up here. Indy player goes down here. He's injured too. Damian Lowe comes in to win this ball as it continues on here. Zayed just gets enough on him, runs underneath him a little bit. Damian Lowe does go 100% every time. He doesn't hold back.
Players that are available this evening, Aaron Pitchcolin, as you just saw, Ishmaela Jome, another who has not seen any minutes for Minnesota as well. Thiago Calvano is out this evening due to receiving, were each shown a red card in that game. Palmer sat out his one game in the midweek game Indy had with Fort Lauderdale on the 13th of July. Thiago Calvano sitting out his red card here this evening, so he is not available for selection for head coach Carl Craig.
Yeah, it would have been ideal for him to come into this situation, but it looks like Damian Lowe is going to be able to continue. It looked like it was his left wrist that was the problem, so good news for Minnesota United.
Played in by Palmer. Mayer's unable to control. Damian Lowe back in for Minnesota. Good recovery by Janicki. Then he wins.
To turn. Ramirez did get the turn on him, but he just wasn't quick enough to get away from him. Janicki was able to get back and win that ball, plus the free kick.
Blake stumbles but maintains possession. Venegas partially deflected by Mayers. The grass seems to be very slick or soft this evening. We've seen a lot of players slipping and sliding.
Yeah, we haven't much rain, but I did see the sprinkles on before the game, which the ball is going to skip along the turf, and so far it's skipping, and you know, until the last 5 or 6 minutes hasn't been a problem for Minnesota.
Indy working it around. Now Minnesota. Jack Blake. Davis going forward. Tonight is the beginning weekend of Schwann's USA Cup, the largest youth tournament in the Western Hemisphere. Hundreds of teams from throughout the world have gathered here in Blaine. So we have a large crowd gathered this evening at the National Sports Center to watch Indy and Minnesota United.
So far they're seeing a great game, Chris. A lot of action so far tonight in the first 35, 36 minutes.
Switch by Miller. Vukovic can't get to it. The idea was right.
Back to the goalkeeper, because Minnesota's doing such a good job of closing him down. You know, the only option he had was so the odds were on Minnesota winning that ball back.
And Jock under pressure. Ramirez is going to be called for the foul.
Yeah, I beg to differ on that one, Chris. Today on the guy with the whistle in the middle. We won't mention his name or what he does.
We've learned our lesson.
Yes.
Ball skips away from Vukovic. '37th minute at the National Sports Center. Christian Ramirez with both goals for Minnesota United. The first in the 3rd minute, the second coming in the 6th minute. Clearance by Palmer hit Brovsky hard.
But he's a tough play. He doesn't want to go down, but he's trying his best to get up here. But you can see what he does for the team. He'll run through a brick wall to try and win that ball. Great effort by Brovsky there. Sucking it up to try and get back into play. Hoping the ball goes out of play for a couple of minutes here.
Saw Brovsky dislocate his shoulder. Went out momentarily, went back in to give it a try, just didn't work. So not surprising to see Brovsky back to his feet and back in position. Palmer with the cross. Braun with a little flick goes just wide. We could hear That ball hitting Brovsky all the way up here in the press box. Take a listen.
You can see he just continues on with the ball here, and the fullback just comes and just blasts as he's trying to put that ball over the crossbar at the far end, and just full-blooded from 2 or 3 yards out, almost hit the rib cage, the solar plexus there, and you can see him wincing. We could hear it all the way up here, Chris. But he went down for maybe an 8 count, got back up and worked his way back into midfield, and continues on like nothing's happened so far.
Ball goes off of Miller, and it'll be a corner for United. Brought to you by Which. Cruz hustling to get on the end of that corner. He'll play it in. He'll sail over the goal, and a goal kick upcoming for the visitors.
It wasn't the greatest corner by Venegas there, but Cruz made it into a decent one because he just his hustle all the way into the far corner, brings it back, and in fact he got a corner out of it. Must have got a little deflection as it came over there off the boot of the defender who was trying to close him down. But that's if Minnesota gets something out of this, it's all got to go down to Danny Cruz, the work effort he did to get to that corner to win that ball and cross it over.
Last touch to Indy defender. So another corner kick brought to you by Which. Was off the head of Palmer. Blake. Ramirez. Blocked by Miller. United players wanting a handball.
Yeah, Ramirez was backing up there as he hit that ball. I'm not sure if it hit him on the arm or if it hit him on the face. We'll get a second look on the replay.
Another hard collision. Pino down. Physicality starting to pick up here.
Yeah, Palmer did win the ball, but he kind of came behind and looked like his...
Getting into it.
You know, got kind of nasty last week, but at times, and they're getting frustrated again. Here you see Pino coming back for the ball, and it's just, yeah, that's a tackle from behind from me, Chris, and it was almost two-footed. His trailing leg did catch him, almost caught him on the cap.
Nice ball played across. Minnesota looking for the handball.
Yeah, Blake gets up there. It did hit him on the arm, but hit him on the outside of the arm, Chris. He really couldn't do nothing with that. You know, that's not a penalty kick for me. If his arm was out straight, maybe in a hit him, yes, but it was down by his side when it hit him on the outside of the arm.
Pino back in. Miller with the switch. Taken down nicely. Good ball movement by Minnesota. Banks into the feet of Ramirez. Brovsky. Space in front. Davis, first time in. Bush punches it away. Brovsky. Blocked by Ring. Blake again in. Too far for everyone except John Bush.
There's a good chance by Minnesota. And if the ball had gone on the back of net, assist on that, but that was all his play right there. He won 2 balls on the far side that were never his. He threw his body in front of both of them, and Minnesota keep possession so they could bring that ball forward. Just great work on the right side by Danny Cruz tonight.
Now Venegas is down.
I get the feeling that these two teams don't like each other right now, Chris. This is the last time they'll face each other this season unless they play each other in the playoffs, but they're trying to get everything out of the way tonight.
Like I mentioned, Indy played a midweek game against Fort Lauderdale. They won that 3-0. They had all 3 goals by the 26th minute.
Yeah, it was a good step up by Venegas. He did win the ball, but as he stepped down on the ground, looks like Braun might have caught him and turned his right ankle there just a little.
Low on the restart. That'll run long. Toro stoppage time for this first half of play, 3 minutes. Flick on by Braun. Hit it back by Lowe. Mayers with a nifty touch to Ring. He'll keep it going right. Palmer, first time forward. Davis there for Minnesota, too high for Ramirez, controlled by Miller.
I have to admit, I'm a bit surprised that there are only 3 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half. You have a couple of injuries, the melee/skirmish over here on the sideline, and I'm also surprised there was no card given, knowing that we've put an emphasis on contact to the face of opposing players in soccer these days. But 3 minutes seems a little light.
Yeah, it does, Eric. Just, you know, you can give the 3 minutes just to the Damien Lowe injury when he was down. He was probably down there at least 3 to 4 minutes, not counting the Pino injury, the Palmer injury, the skirmishes here and there, the goals, the substitutions.
The ref just wants to get to the locker room. That's why there's 3 minutes.
Exactly. And so does Minnesota. It's been almost a perfect 45 minutes, and that's all it's been, Chris, 45 minutes. They need to come out and apply the same way the second half. Maybe get that third goal to kill it up. But if Indy gets the second goal, their first goal to make it 2-1, it's a whole new ball game.
We're in the stoppage time of the first half. Minnesota leading 2-0. Pino. Called for the foul.
I think it was another weak call. Pino really didn't do nothing to him. It was like he was trying to flick the ball over his head, and he didn't get the chance to do it. Pino won the ball cleanly, but the referee seems to think it was a free kick.
Good step by Davis. Strongly goes Coleman. There's the whistle from the referee. 45 minutes are complete at the National Sports Center. And the scoreboard reads 2-0 in favor of Minnesota United.
Yeah, it's a great first half by Minnesota. Great 45 minutes. But like I said, that's all it is, because 45 minutes, they've got to come out in the second half and apply themselves the same way. They'd like to get that third goal. But if Indy gets it, it's game on again. But the coach can be very happy with the way the first 45 minutes plus injury time went tonight, Chris.
So a much different performance through the first half of play from tonight compared to last week.
Oh, absolutely, and it's all down to, for me, I believe, is the surface. Tonight was very different, and Minnesota controlled the game for the first 45 minutes.
Let's go down to Eric Nordquist. He's with Carl Craig.
An interesting first 45 minutes, to say the least. 2 goals, though, in the first 10 minutes. A couple more for Christian Ramirez. Your assessment?
Got sloppy in the end. Great start, made some great opportunities to score, and then started to dwell on the ball too long, started to hump the ball down the sides. Although we have, when we played forward at times, looked very dangerous. Just too lax for me, too lax.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back up to you guys.
Christian Ramirez was denied from the penalty spot last week, but not tonight, as he hammers home his 9th goal of the year in the 3rd minute and adds his 10th goal 3 minutes later.
I don't think the mood sets in until we all walk out and we're getting ready for warm-ups.
Welcome back, NSC Stadium. It's halftime. Minnesota United up 2-0 at the half over visiting Indy 11 on 2 goals in the first 10 minutes from Christian Ramirez. So the score's in favor of the home team. But speaking of number 21, what's it like on a match day for Minnesota United players? We followed around Christian Ramirez to get a look at what he does leading up to kickoff. Let's take a peek.
I don't think the mood sets in until we all walk out and we're getting ready for warm-ups. We start off with Yoshi in the corner, and then we go into Peter, and we're doing like a box passing just to get our legs moving, get some touches on the ball. Once that first round ends, everyone's like, okay, enough, let's get into it. And that's when people start to fly around and everyone starts buzzing, knowing that the game's right around the corner. And then we move into possession. Ian then takes us and is doing finishing from all sorts of angles. We're getting crosses in, we're getting turns, we play it into him, he sets us and we take a touch around him. Just game realistic stuff, just to get our minds ready and get reps in right before the game. After the speech, get up and say good luck to everyone, and everyone has their own little thing. Some guys yell right after the coaches, some guys just close their eyes, some guys just wait to take a deep breath. Philippians 4:13, so I can do it, all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's just a verse that's stuck with me since college, so I have it on my wrist and I have it on my shoes. I also have my parents' last names on my shoes and my fiance's name. So just little memories that when I'm tying my shoes, I can look down and know that they're with me throughout this whole process. But definitely, if I look at my phone right before the game, I know my dad's sent me a text, or my little brothers now. So that's a big thing, knowing that they're watching every game back home, and I know they enjoy that, watching me on TV.
Every year Christian Ramirez has played in Minnesota, he has scored double digits in goals. His 2 in the first half tonight give him 10 on the year and keeps him atop the league leaders. Welcome back to to the National Sports Center. Tonight's game presented by Allina Health. Only in Minnesota can you experience the picturesque beauty of the Minneapolis chain of lakes, a true urban oasis. Experience nature right in the city by riding the paths around the lakes or paddle across them on one of the many rentals. The chain of lakes are just 10 minutes outside of downtown Minneapolis and right by Uptown, giving any visitor the chance to live the Minnesota lake life while also experiencing the artistic and unique culture of the metropolitan area. Find endless ideas for the perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com and share your favorites with hashtag #OnlyInMN. First half highlights presented by Gillette Children's Specialty Healthcare.
Yeah, great play by Danny Cruz here as he gets behind the defense. Smart move here. He goes across the defender knowing his legs might get clipped. He does pay the price for it though. He hits his head off the shoulder of the defender, then the ground. Ramirez missed one last week. He wasn't going to miss this week. He knew the goalkeeper was going to dive, so he just powers that one right down the middle. But this is what we didn't see last week. Balls over the top. Minnesota winning balls here. Pino battling for it. The ball comes to Ramirez, gets a little touch here from J.C. Banks, but this is where Pino does his magic here. Little stutter step here, but this is a great ball. You don't see Danny Cruz coming in till late, but it's a great ball from the back post to the near post. He doesn't get a touch, but Ramirez is there to tap it in to give Minnesota a 2-0 lead. Brings the fans to their feet. Minnesota leading against a good defensive team. Once again, Danny Cruz. This is what you get from Danny Cruz for 90 minutes here. Great work rate. Wins the ball, lays it back for Blake here. Great shot from 25 yards with the inside of the foot. Makes a great save from Bush here. And he did have a couple of chances. Minnesota has to be careful. Good ball into the near post by Palmer. Rogers couldn't get a foot on it here. Another great run by Justin Davis here. Pino gets the flick on. J.C. Banks causing problems. Borowski hits a shot, but this was just many of the chances that Minnesota had during the first half as they lead 2-0.
It was a physical first 45 minutes as Minnesota took advantage of their first two scoring chances and lead 2-0. Indy's undefeated streak is just 45 minutes away from possibly ending as Minnesota United leads by 2 at half. Let's go right down to Eric Nordquist. He's with Tim Hankinson.
2-goal deficit, something your squad hasn't had the chance to face yet in 2016. What's the adjustment looking at the second 45?
Well, first of all, we've been down before and managed to battle back. It's about getting the first one, and then we'll worry about the equalizer. But Toronto has come into the game into more of an attacking midfield role, something he's done in his career. And we're going to be pushing up Vuko on the outside, so it'll look more like a 3-4-3. And hopefully that'll make the difference to get us back in it.
Good luck in the second half. Thank you. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Tim. Look at the first half stats.
Yeah, a lot of zeros on the Indy 11, which is a good side for Minnesota here. 7 shots there by Minnesota, 2 goals. 44% to 56. You know, and you did have a lot of possession in the back, and a lot of that possession could have been when Minnesota had a couple of injuries down. But good half by Minnesota.
You heard Tim Hankinson mention it. Gerardo Torrado is into the game for Indy 11. His first appearance with his squad, the Cruz Azul. Talented midfielder now onto the field for Indy.
Yeah, Coach Hankinson was very positive there. He has to be, you know, down 2-0. Like he said, they've been there before, so it's nothing new to them. Maybe two goals is different, but they're in a familiar position, especially on the road. They're tied 4 of the games, so they, like you said, they got to get that first goal before they get the equalizer.
As we mentioned, Gerardo Torrado in, replacing Nicky Patterson. Torrado, 11 years with Cruz Azul, 325 appearances. Minnesota leading 2-0 as you start the second half. Chris Lidholm along with Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist on My 29.
Yeah, I love what Carl Craig had to say at halftime in his interview. They were very sloppy towards the end. Maybe they weren't very sloppy, but they weren't as efficient as they were in the first 20-25 minutes. In some of the toughest team talks you would expect when you're down, but it's when you're leading 2-0. You got to go and you got to be hard on the players just to get them motivated for the second half. And I'm sure that's what he was trying to do, to get them motivated, to start pushing hard right from the get-go and try and get that third goal to close this game out.
And Jock collects it 16 yards out from his goal. Step by Vukovic. Torrado. Mares trying to weave his way through the Minnesota defense. And Lowe on the tackle wins the goal kick.
Yeah, strong tackle by Damien Lowe again. No one's getting past him. You know, the ball might get past him, but the body won't.
Sammy and Jock posting the clean sheet for the first 45 minutes. No clean sheets in the fall, but he had 4 in the spring. Foul against Minnesota.
This is the only thing I would change about Minnesota's game recently, Chris. You see Damien Lowe coming over the top again. Sometimes you're not going to win every ball, but he wants to. You know, goes in hard then as he comes up and hits him in the back of the head. But I'd like to see Minnesota play the ball out of the back at times. Instead of having Sammy knock the ball up, you can see what happened there. The ball goes forward, it comes right back. Indy has a free kick to give him possession away. I'd just like to see Minnesota play it out the back for a little bit. Try and hold on to possession. Make Indy work a little bit, make him run around.
Vukovic on the restart. Off the head of Janicki. And then Jock has to touch it over the bar. Which Superior Sandwiches 12 Twin Cities locations. Which do you prefer? Vukovic on the corner, going near post. Teams will stay right where they are. And another corner kick for Indy.
Yeah, dangerous ball in there. Blake trying to just swing at that thing and caught the outside of his ankle.
Again from the corner flag. This time far post. Skips all the way through the 18. Last touch by a Minnesota defender by Brovsky. So they trail by 2. This corner kick brought to you by Which. Uncontested was Miller, or Braun rather, and he's denied.
Strong right hand stopped this ball from going over the goal line here. As you see, comes up here, uncontested, header there, powers it down. And what a save by Sammy Jacques. Just gets enough of his hand on the ball here to stop from going over. And Minnesota's able to clear it. 3 corners in a row, and they had a great couple of chances there. Not the start that Minnesota wanted in this second half.
Cruz going down hard again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Danny Cruz did wrong there other than get pounded from behind. Now the referee decided to give it the other way. Good call, referee.
He realized he pointed in the wrong direction. So free kick to come for Minnesota as we enter the 51st minute.
Yeah, Cruz is looking at Vukovic and saying, what did I do wrong? You know, he really didn't do anything. He just got hammered and landed on his shoulder blades.
Venegas looking for some option to play it in. Blaine decides to go far post looking for Pino. Palmer gets a piece of it. Blake cuts it to his right. Pino, right footer, headed away by Ring. Gordon will slow it up. Now Ring at midfield. Miss hit from Brad Ring results in a throw-in for Minnesota.
Yeah, unlucky by Ring there. The ball just bounced. We look at the save again from Simon Jacques here. Free header from 7-8 yards out. Just an incredible save there. Getting his hand onto that, stopping that ball going in, keeping Minnesota 2-0.
And that right there is one of the toughest saves a goalkeeper can make. Basically having to kick his feet out and drop down right where his feet were just a moment ago.
Exactly. If you look at it again, he might have been moving to his left and dive to the right. It's very hard to do. You're going back to that last free kick from Venegas there. Minnesota's line was very flat. You need movement.
Pino with speed. Stefano Pino. Tackle by Miller. Good tackle by Corey Miller.
Yeah, good run by Pino. He did really well to stop Pino getting behind him there. Really good tackle.
Torado. Now Mares. Out to Vukovic. He'll play it in with the left foot. Off a low. Corner kick for Indy.
Those balls look innocent as they come in, Chris, but like the corner kick in that one right there, when it skips in front of him, see Pino go and try to get behind him there. Just need another touch to try and get behind him, but a great recovery there to win the ball back.
Which? Goes off a low. Braun keeps it in play. Braun once again now. Good step by Blake. Collision between Blake and Braun. Play continues. Mares. He hit it from that distance last week. Good tackle by Lowe. He'll get it away. Palmer tracking back.
I think Blake might have done his knee, Chris. He went in there very hard to win that ball, and they didn't come in from either side, so he stretched, and it might have turned in the inside of his knee there.
Jack Blake still down for Minnesota.
It didn't look good when he came in there. If you see it again, see him go win this ball here. He stretches, and you can see his left knee as he comes in there. Maybe he stretched the ligament on the inside there, and then to boot he got backheeled as he was.
Jack Blake will remain in the game. Minnesota United has used one sub already. They had to early, and it was in fact Jack Blake coming in for Giuliano Vicencini in the 14th minute. Indy, they have used two subs. Omar Gordon coming in early in the 12th minute for Duke Lacroix, and then Gerardo Torado in for Nicky Patterson to start this second half. So Indy has one sub remaining, Minnesota has two.
Yeah, it'd be good for Minnesota, Blake, if he is hurt, if you can get maybe another 15-20 minutes out of him before they have to use another sub.
Aaron Pitchcolin and Ibsen are two possibilities to replace Jack Blake if he's unable to make it through the full 90 minutes.
Just have to keep an eye on the next 5 or 6 minutes here to see if he starts to favor it.
Gordon. Pino up strongly. Banks. Stumbles. Mares. Good ball out to Gordon. Good tackle by Davis.
Very dangerous. Suggesting winning the ball here. Just gets a little bit in front here. Tries to win and just gets a little shove in the back, pushes him over, called by the referee. Yeah, but India looking very confident so far. And, you know, they didn't really have much in the first half, but so far the second half they've shown a lot more. And this is why they get points on the road, because they work hard for 90 minutes.
This is also a team in Indy that have scored 7 or 8 of their 20 goals so far in the final 15, 20 minutes of a match.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing right now, Eric, is they're working hard, and hopefully this will pay off towards the end of the game. But they need to get that first goal first, and they will do if they keep playing the way they are.
Vukovic going forward. Into Braun. Braun turns. Lays it off for Ramirez. Good ball into Toronto. Back out Vukovic, who's pushed forward. His cross will go up and out of play.
Back. There is no Minnesota players there. It's almost like they're sitting a little bit too far back at the moment, and it's too early in the game to be doing that.
Gordon to his left foot. Diving save by Njok.
Yeah, Sammy did well to hold on to that. Those are the times they're difficult to get a hold of. With an effort. Good hands by Sammy.
Ring, first touch forward. Flick on by Braun. Zayed. Gordon. Not missing the upper corner by much.
Yeah, they're getting closer and closer, Chris. They're getting the ball forward. There's people wide open there. That was a great effort again. Nobody covering him here. Justin Davis had to come in to pick the guy up, pick Zayed up. Luckily, they're just a little high and off target, but Minnesota needs to get a hold of this ball and making up everything in midfield and starting on the attack again. Just like this.
All against Brovsky. It's been a much different first 15 minutes of this half compared to the first half this evening for Indy.
Yeah, it looks like both teams might have changed shirts at halftime, because Indy are playing like Minnesota did the first 10 minutes of the first half, and you know, Minnesota haven't really got going here so far, and they need to get going quickly before they allow a goal.
Braun. Blocked by Coleman.
We talk about quick feed of Coleman, and that's exactly what he did there.
Down by 2. Braun. Miller. Rolls through the 6.
Right now, that was another good chance. Pillars were lining up to take a shot there.
We're an hour in at the National Sports Center. Minnesota United leading 2-0 over Indy. 2 goals by Christian Ramirez, the first and third minute from the penalty spot, and 3 minutes later off an assist from Stefano Pino. Gives Ramirez his second goal of the night.
Tonight. Hold up play by Braun there. Blake sees it. Comes in, just gets a touch. Gets fouled. Coming in.
Blake is going to be called up the second half.
And you see the ball coming up. You know, it's very tough again for Ramirez to try and win that ball in that position that he's in.
Braun turning at the top of the 18. Braun gets it back momentarily. Ring! That hit Braun. Ring with a second chance. Went off a Minnesota defender. It'll be a corner kick.
By knocking the ball long, it's not going to help. It's a great shot. Knocks Braun off his feet here. Comes right back to him. Hits it again and gets deflected of Blake for a corner kick here. It's maybe the 5th or 6th corner so far this half. And I'm not sure if they had one in the first half, Chris, but everyone's been dangerous.
Off the hand of Miller.
That might ease some of the pressure right there. Minnesota just needs to slow it down here, get possession of this ball, and I'm disagreeing with the way they're playing the ball out of the back right now. They need to get a hold of this ball, play it, make Indy work. Just a long kick forward and win by the Indy defense, and it's coming right back to midfield. And Indy's picking it up and starting on the attack again. It's going to make a long 30 minutes or so with it, wherever we've got left here for Minnesota, if they don't get possession of this ball.
Whistle against Ramirez this time.
The only chance he has to win the ball is you have to foul someone.
Ring. Out to Palmer. Lavelle Palmer cutting into the inside. Now he'll go back outside, trying to get around Pino. Gordon. Zayed battling with Coleman. Gordon comes over. Coleman runs out of room, so it'll be a throw in for Indy.
It might be a good time for Minnesota to make a substitute here. It might be even good to bring even Ben Spies off the bench tonight. He's missed some action, but at least he's going to get his foot on the ball and run at people, and that's what Minnesota needs to do right now, is get possession and actually run at the defenders, make them work a little bit.
Another foul against Minnesota.
This is just as dangerous as a corner from this angle.
Referee Baboucarr Jallow marching off the 10 yards. Nemanja Vukovic getting set to take the free kick for Indy. They trail by 2 here in the 64th minute.
He's just hoping to get this ball flicked down and be ping-pong around and hopefully find an Indy player open to get a shot on goal.
Good service in Jock collects it.
It's the right idea, but just a little too high for any Indy player to get on the end of that.
Ramirez, good touch for Cruz. Ring, half step ahead of Cruz. Brad Ring still down for Indy.
There's a late tackle coming in by Danny Cruz. Might have caught him as he slid past. Wasn't intentional. Ring had to play the ball, and as he played it, he might have got the cleats of Danny Cruz as he came sliding in. And finally, Christian wins the ball here, turns it off. Cruz coming in there, just catches him on the toe. You can see Borowski talking to coach Carl Craig on the sideline, and Carl wants him to play. Get the push forward, get your foot in the ball, slow things down. Play it 1 touch, 2 touch if you have to. Make Indy work hard to win the ball back.
Brad Ring back up for Indy. Into the 66th minute. The 2-0 game in favor of Minnesota. Chris Lidholm along with Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist. An excellent crowd gathered here at the National Sports Center for this evening's contest. Lots of visitors in town for the Schwann's USA Cup, the largest youth tournament in the Western Hemisphere, taking place starting this weekend, going all week. The championships next weekend. Off of Vukovic.
The big difference so far in the second half, because we haven't seen Cruz or Venegas get anywhere near getting past the Indy defense here like they did in the first half. They could do it with ease, but so far they've kind of stopped that play by whatever they're doing, moving people outside, but that means it's going to be open down the middle.
Very reactionary bunch, Minnesota United. They're not winning 50-50 balls. We're seeing it coming out of the back when Sammy releases the ball. You're seeing fouls, giving away free kicks, and then when the pressure of Indy is putting that ball in the attacking third, Minnesota forced to clear for corners. Just not a lot of opportunity for Danny Cruz, who has it now, to take care of the ball.
Yeah, it's a perfect way to explain it, right? They're just standing around waiting instead of being the people that, you know, make those plays, get the ball under control, play it out wide, play it through. But they're just waiting to see what happens. You want someone to step up. You know, this is where you hope Borowski might take command of midfield and win those balls. Get people running forward so he can get the ball played over the top, stretch the Indy defense. Right now, it's a stroll in the park for them right now.
Into Ramirez, good touch for Banks. Banks is helped to the ground by Tirado.
I mean, that wasn't an ideal ball from Sammy, but it was a better ball because it was played along the ground and it allowed Ramirez to win that ball.
Here's Venegas. Around Vukovic. Venegas! His cross headed out by Janicki. Corner kick Minnesota.
Yeah, you can see how dangerous it is when he does get in that position. So Minnesota needs to get him in there as much as possible. Indy's not going to score while they're down this end of the field, and this is where Minnesota needs to play in this third of the field right now.
And that all started with Christian Ramirez being able to take that kick from Sammy, control it, conceding the free kick, and then we just saw the clearance into the box there.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the greatest ball, but it was a good ball along the ground, and Ramirez didn't have to jump 12 feet in the air to try and get anything on it.
Venegas, the league assist leader, from the corner. Headed out by Palmer. Blake, bicycle. Vukovic puts his head on it. Cruz gets involved. Blake. Thought about hitting one from that distance, decided not to. Low. They'll play it to the corner for Pino. Stefano Pino. Couldn't quite control. Goal kick for Indy.
It was the right idea, just that it's on his weaker foot and he just couldn't get the foot wrapped around that. But a great ball over the top again, put Indy under pressure. That's what they have to do.
Lifetime would like to welcome you to participate in free soccer clinics this season. Meet and learn from Minnesota United players and youth coaches for kids ages 6 to 12. For more information and to register, visit the Minnesota United Facebook page. Tirado. Gordon. Open on the right. Gordon keeps it on the ground. Steered away by Blake. Brovsky tries to clear. Mares able to win it back. Gordon to his left peg. Indy gets it back. Ring.
Minnesota needs to push out and sitting too far back again, Chris. You'd like to see him push out, not allow that ball to come in.
Mares denied by Blake. Ring. Into Zayed. He lays it off. Mares well struck. Right into the hands of Sammy and Jock.
It's going to take a spectacular strike to beat Sammy from there, but he did that last week. But Minnesota is sitting too far back there a little bit. Need to get him pushed out a little bit. At least get them to midfield so they have an opportunity to break, play some balls through. With JC Banks running over the top here.
Palmer clearance goes up and into the stands.
Like I said, it might be a good idea time to get Ben Spies on, get him back in action again. He's a player that will hold onto the ball and run at people.
Spies have been running, warming up in the corner. Now coming to the bench. Ben Spies will be entering momentarily for Minnesota. Banks back to Pino. Goes off a ring. Davis. He'll play it in. Headed away by Ring. Gordon turning upfield. Davis staying stride for stride. And Justin Davis called for the foul. We may see a yellow card here to Justin Davis.
Yeah, it's got to be a yellow card.
Sure enough, we do.
It was a good run back there. He just couldn't hold with the speed there. Had to foul him. It was good foul to take right there. Unfortunately, gets a yellow card for it, but it was a good foul to take because they were on the attack.
Second yellow card of the fall for Justin Davis.
Just gets his arm over the top there, pulls it back a little.
We're in the 72nd minute. Minnesota holding on to a 2-goal lead. Thanks to 2 goals early in the first half by Christian Ramirez. The first in the 3rd minute, the second one coming in the 6th minute. Vukovic on the free kick for Indy. Good service in. Looked up and over by Zayed.
There's a great ball in there. Zayed just didn't quite get it over the top of that to get the ball down. That's a very dangerous free kick from that area. That's the second one. The first one was a little high. This time he got his man.
Substitution for Minnesota United. Number 10, Ben Spies will enter. He'll be replacing J.C. Banks. Suleiman Yula will be entering for Indy, replacing Dylan Mayers.
J.C. Banks has played some great soccer over this last month. Just the last 2 games, it's very difficult to do what he does against the Indy 11 team that's very strong at the back. They don't give much away. They don't allow the ball over the top much. And that's where J.C. Banks was at his most dangerous against teams that weren't as good as Indy in the back. But now we've got Ben Spies in the lineup. Hopefully he'll be able to get a hold of the ball and at least take some of the pressure off the Minnesota defense and keep the ball up in Indy's defensive third.
It's the third and final substitution of the night for Indy. Minnesota has one more. Venegas quickly forward. Ben Spies, first touch of the night. Spies. Ramirez, offside.
It's the right idea. Ben Spies took a look. He thought about taking a shot there. The ball needed to go just a little quicker, half a step quicker to Ramirez, and he might have been onside here. He looks up. He looks like he's going to take a shot. He's just a little late there. Good step up by Indy defense there, putting Ramirez offside. That's what Minnesota has to do.
Gordon slicing in the middle. Omar Gordon. Vukovic. He'll cross it in. Point blank save by Njak, but Zayed was offside.
Yeah, whether it was offside or not, Chris, that's another brilliant save by Simon Njak there. Get his legs on that ball. It's just a great ball over by Vukovic. Zayed hit the ball in step with the volley here. Great ball here. Gets the flick on. The flick on is what causes the offside here. He steps back half a step. He's okay, but what a save by Sammy again.
Cruz wins it. Danny Cruz, ton of space in front of him. Danny Cruz into the penalty area. Last touch, just a touch too far, and Janicki takes it away.
Yeah, he's a little upset with himself there, Danny Cruz there. He had the space, just knocked it a little bit too far in front of him. He had the Indy 11 defense on the tails there.
Ramirez wins it back. Spies wants to just slow things down, protect the 2-goal lead. Braun gets it back though for Indy. Tirado. Blake with the step.
Minnesota just needs to spend a little more time in the Indy half here to try and close this game out. The more they can spend there, the less chance they're going to give up a goal, but Indy's still pressing. Getting to the point of the game now where they're going to have to start taking chances, maybe get an extra player forward or two, which will leave Minnesota to hit them on the counter-attack. And if they do, they have to take advantage of it, Chris.
And I think part of that change for Indy did come at halftime when you hear them making the substitution and then moving into more of a 3-4-3, creating some of the offensive pressure we've seen so far in the second frame.
Yeah, they went more offensively, Eric, because they have to get goals back. You know, under normal circumstances, he probably wouldn't change the formation if it was 1-0. But 2-0, you've got to start and change it to try and get something back. And it's really paid off. They've been really good, Indy, in the second half.
Indy has scored 8 goals in the last 15 minutes of matches this season. No other NASL team has more than 5. Flag is up from the assistant referee. They'll play the goal kick instead.
Minnesota's been a little bit better in the last 5 or 6 minutes here. They've had some chances going forward here. They continue to have to do that. Keep possession of the ball, make Indy work for everything that they're going to get. Give them nothing.
And going back to that stat that Chris mentioned, it's a big part of the reason why Indy haven't lost a game this year. And they've been so frustrated in the final minutes, finding the offense, finding the ability to equalize and peek out victories. And that's really what we have to look at in the final 15 minutes here, is stifling this team and making sure that we can preserve this 2-goal lead.
Yeah, it's almost a must-win, I think, Eric, for Minnesota tonight. They don't want to drop 6 points on 2 weekends to Indy. So Minnesota has to try to get this ball down the field here and try and get that 3rd goal and not sit too far back.
Vukovic. His free kick sails right near the penalty spot. Brovsky. And Spies. Vukovic gets it back. Miller will play it in. Venegas puts his head on it. Vukovic once again. Sail up and into the beer garden. Goal kick upcoming for Minnesota. 79th minute. Minnesota holding a 2-0 lead. And a 2-goal lead, as they say, is not a safe lead. We've seen it as Minnesota United had their struggles against New York. New York able to come back and eliminate a 2-goal deficit.
Yeah, Minnesota, I'm not sure if Indy has had a 2-0 deficit this season. You know, I know they've had 1-0 a lot, and they've come back to tie the game up. They've got 7 draws so far, and 4 of them have been on the road. So they're going to do everything they can until the last second of the game to try and get this deficit back to a 2-2 tie.
Indy has a 13-game unbeaten streak going into this evening's contest with Minnesota. It ties an NASL record. In those 13 games, they've only allowed 9 goals and only allowed multiple goals in one of those 13 games, and that was to Minnesota earlier this year. Minnesota clearly the only team in the NASL this year to be able to score multiple goals against Indy, as they've done it here tonight as well.
Yeah, they seem to give Indy trouble, but Indy are a very good team. You don't give up 9 goals in 13 games before tonight without doing the things well. And you can see, they're working so hard. Everyone in the white uniforms are working so hard to try and win that ball back, to put Minnesota under pressure, and they're doing a really good job with it right now.
Aaron Pitchkolan to enter the game, replacing Danny Cruz. Good 80 minutes from Danny Cruz. This substitution clearly defensive-minded.
Yeah, like I said, what are you going to do with Danny Cruz tonight? He just gives 100%, whether it's 90 minutes or whether tonight is 80 minutes. He gives everything tonight, throwing his body. You know he's going to hurt tomorrow morning, but with 3 points in the bag, it won't hurt as much. But he gave everything tonight, as he always does. Great performance by Danny Cruz tonight, involved in both goals. Minnesota's going to have to thank him once you get back to the locker room for sure.
Third and final substitution of the night for Minnesota.
More of a defensive move by Minnesota, bringing up Danny Cruz, but Pitchkolan's a big body in there, so hopefully he'll help win some of those balls in front of the back 4, try to take the pressure off him. Mustn't forget to trying to get forward with the rest of the team to try and keep the formation intact. You don't want big gaps between the midfield, the forward, or the defense at this point in the game.
Vukovic once again on the set piece for Indy. Going far post. Braun heads it down. Cleared out by Minnesota.
That's really good play by Pino. That's what the rest of the team has to do there, is close them down, not allow it to, just like Justin Davis did right there, just like Ramirez did. Get there and win that ball. Don't give him a free ride.
Corrado. In for Gordon. Gordon, left foot. Sails out wide.
And that's better by Minnesota. Closing down quickly.
Tonight's Securian man of the match is?
Obviously, he's got to go to Christian Ramirez with 2 goals here. Penalty kick, beautiful down the middle. A little tap into the far post. They're all good goals, whether they're 6 yards out or whether 26 yards out. Great move by Minnesota, tap in by Ramirez. And so far, that's the difference.
Foul against Miller.
Yeah, Ramirez has been pushed and part of the whole night there by Miller. Finally gets one call to go his way. Looks like he's got a little bit of cramp going on. A lot of running across the front line by Ramirez. 10 minutes more left in him. Maybe even a third goal. That's what'll keep him going.
So a free kick here for Minnesota. We're in the 83rd minute. United leading by 2.
You know, with the substitution of Danny Cruz here, there's no width here on the right-hand side, so you might want to put some width on the left-hand side, at least an outlet pass. Everyone seems to be crowding down the middle here, no width.
Janicki tripped up by Ramirez.
Ramirez is calling, he needs a substitution because he's cramping up really bad. Minnesota have used the third substitute.
Ramirez is going to have to tough out these last 6-7 minutes. You can see Ramirez just struggling to run. Pino. Stefano Pino. Trails wide.
Much better by Minnesota. That great ball in by Venegas there, giving Pino a chance to win that ball. Things under control. Just didn't get a quality strike, but it was the right idea. Pino comes here, just didn't quite, drags it across with his left foot. Like to get a cleaner strike on that from that distance. We've seen him do it before, so we know he can.
Goes off of Eula.
You know, Christian is struggling with cramps as bad as he looks. He might want to come out to the touchline here, stay out wide and let Pino play down the middle. Give him a little break.
Play continues. Toronto. Now Vukovic. Brovsky picks up the loose ball. He's helped down by Braun.
Yeah, the frustration's coming out on Braun a little bit now. We saw that towards the end of the game last week until he scored. Good play by Brovsky. A little help from the referee. Hits him off the back of the heel, but he's holding up, shielding it. Make sure he gets a free kick out of it. Slow the game down as much as possible. You can see him struggling a little bit too. Minnesota's worked really hard to get this 2-goal lead tonight, and they'd hate to give it away right now with 5 minutes to go plus injury time.
Ramirez offside on the ball from Venegas.
But it does waste a little bit of time putting the ball into the corner there as far as away as you can as possible.
Janicki. Now Palmer. Toronto. Zayed leaves it off. Toronto. Rolls across the top of the 18. Vukovic first time in. Step there by Lowe. Ring with it. He'll knock it in. Skips away from Gordon, but he hustles to keep it in play. Gordon's cross into the feet of Braun. Toronto. Denied by Pitchkolin. '87th minute. Ring. Handball.
Any whistle that Minnesota can get right now, they'll be thankful for. They just can't get a hold of the ball at the moment, so that was a nice little whistle there. Handball gives a free kick to Minnesota. Waste some time. Slowly get forward. Let Sammy take it. Knock it into the corner, try and hold possession in the corners here.
Janicki heads it across the end line. Be a corner kick for Minnesota.
Yeah, it's good play by Janicki for Minnesota there. He's trying to head that back. The goalkeeper just didn't quite get the right angle on it. Gives Minnesota a corner kick. Maybe they can waste another 60 seconds here. What I'd like to see him do is take a short corner here, try and keep the ball in the corner rather than throwing it at the middle of the box and maybe Indy breaking on him.
Venegas at the corner flag for Minnesota, looking to increase their lead. Little chip in, Low heads it down into the gut of Bush.
That might be the first time you've mentioned his name in the second half tonight, Chris. It's been very quiet in for him in the second half. Good play by Damien Lowe, though, chasing back.
Ring. Lofting ball over the top. Eula gets his head on it. Just over the bar.
And he's threatening Minnesota almost every time they get on attack here. Just a long ball into the box here. Get the head on it. Just trying to lob it over the top of Sammy here. Just a little too much on it.
Brovsky. Miller gets a piece of it. He'll knock it long. Off of Braun. Good skill by Brovsky. Spies turns upfield. Ben Spies lays it off for Pino. Trying to get around Janicki, doesn't work. Eula slicing to his right. Gordon stepping up to defend is Davis. Ramirez gets involved. Gordon wins it back. Now Palmer. Brovsky. Toro stoppage time for this second half. 3 minutes.
It's going to be a long 3 minutes for Minnesota here, Chris. As far back as the sitting. A lot of tired legs out there.
Braun. Vukovic.
Minnesota just throwing bodies in front there to try and block that shot. Doing everything they can to not allow that ball to go through to Sammy here. Good play by Braun there. Vukovic gets a good strike on it. Just a yard outside the post. Minnesota fans gasp as you see that ball just slip past.
Look at True North Elite. Just like the Dark Clouds, chanting, cheering, supporting their squad for the full 90 minutes. We're into stoppage time. Good step by Ring. Eula. Pass behind Braun. Low. Dribbles out. Blake. Pino. Pino using that speed to get to the ball. Venegas onside. In the corner. He'll wisely just slow it up. Take time off the clock. Protect the 2-goal lead. Will end up being a throw-in for Indy.
Yeah, that was great work by Pino there, stepping over the ball, running behind, trying to keep possession, giving it to Venegas. Missing another 30 seconds in the corner here.
A lot of credit to the back four for Minnesota United. ton of pressure on United in the second half, a lot of possession by Indy, but we saw the patience of Damian Lowe that started that counterattack, ultimately getting it to Venegas in the corner to waste some time. Not a lot of shots on Sammy's net so far in the second half, despite the dominance of possession by Indy.
Yeah, they might have bent a little, Eric, but they haven't broken so far. They've done a great job all the way across the back. And that's what they have to do for the last couple of minutes here or so.
Now Gordon going forward. Coleman touching it out is Coleman. Referee looking at his watch. Seconds remain here this evening. Palmer. Heavy ball through. Vukovic gets to it. Fronting him is Venegas. Off of Venegas. Ring. Out to Miller, who's pushed forward. He'll cross it in. Headed out by Brovsky. It's all over. Minnesota United gets their first win of the year over Indy and ends Indy's undefeated streak with tonight's 2-0 victory.
Yeah, tremendous effort by Minnesota. You can just see the plays have got nothing left. Everyone that's on the field spent. They had to work hard. Indy, give credit to Indy. They came out the second half and they controlled the game. Did everything they could to try and get back in this game. Just a couple of shots wide, some good saves by Sammy. Able to protect that 2-0 lead and give Indy their first loss this season. It was a huge 3 points for Minnesota here tonight, especially at home.
Take a look at the upcoming schedule for Minnesota United. Remember the international friendly coming up this Wednesday, July 20th against AFC Bournemouth. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Fort Lauderdale comes to town next Saturday, the 23rd. So a couple home games for Minnesota United upcoming this week. The National Sports Center has been good to Minnesota United, as tonight, for the third straight home game, United has come away with 3 points as they avenge a 1-0 road loss last week at Carroll Stadium with the win tonight. It's the 9th and 10th goals of the year for CST Ramirez, while Sammy Jock hosts his first clean sheet of the fall. Minnesota United hosts AFC Bournemouth this Wednesday, and then Fort Lauderdale comes to town next Saturday. Final score from NSC Stadium. Minnesota United comes out on top, 2-0.